the de Havilland DH-106 Comet was the world's first commercial jet airliner. Although sales never fully recovered, the improved Comet 2 and the prototype Comet 3 culminated in the redesigned Comet 4 series, which debuted in 1958 and remained in commercial service until 1981. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret were guests on a special flight of the Comet on the 30th of June 1953, hosted by Sir Geoffrey and Lady de Havilland. In 1953 the Comet appeared to have achieved success for de Havilland. The Comet 1 and 1A had been criticized for a lack of feel in their controls, and investigators suggested that this might have contributed to the pilot's alleged overstressing of the aircraft. Comet chief test pilot John Cunningham contended that the jetliner flew smoothly and was highly responsive in a manner consistent with other de Havilland aircraft. Rome's Ciampino Airport, the site of the first Comet hull loss, was the origin of more disastrous Comet flights just over a year later. All airline customers for the Comet 3 subsequently cancelled their orders and switched to the Comet 4, which was based on the Comet 3 but with improved fuel capacity. The Comet 4 was ordered by two other airlines. Airliner, Argentina's took delivery of 6 Comet 4s from 1959 to 1960, using them between Buenos Aires and Santiago, New York and Europe, while East African Airways received 3 new Comet 4s from 1960 to 1962 and operated them to the United Kingdom, and to Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. The Comet 4C had the Comet 4B's longer fuselage and the longer wings and extra fuel tanks of the original Comet 4, which gave it a longer range than the 4B. Ordered by Kuwait Airways, Middle East Airlines, Misrair, and Sudan Airways, it was the most popular Comet variant. In 1959 BOAC began shifting its Comets from transatlantic routes and released the Comet to associate companies, making the Comet 4's ascendancy as a premier airliner brief. In November 1965 BOAC retired its Comet 4s from revenue service, while other operators continued commercial passenger flights with the Comet until 1981. According to de Havilland's chief test pilot John Cunningham, who had flown the prototype's first flight, representatives from American manufacturers, such as Boeing and Douglas, privately disclosed that if de Havilland had not experienced the Comet's pressurization problems first, it would have happened to them. Aeronautical engineering firms were quick to respond to the Comet's commercial advantages and technical flaws alike. Other aircraft manufacturers learned from and profited by the hard-earned lessons embodied by de Havilland's Comet. In response to the Comet tragedies, manufacturers also developed various means of pressurization testing, often going so far as to explore rapid depressurization. Subsequent fuselage skins were of a greater thickness than the skin of the Comet. Comet 1X. 2 aircraft Comet 1As were rebuilt with heavier gauge skins to a Comet 2 standard for the fuselage, and renamed Comet 1X. Comet 1XP. 4 Comet 1As were upgraded to a 1XP standard with a reinforced fuselage structure and oval windows. The Comet 2 had a slightly larger wing, higher fuel capacity and more powerful Rolls-Royce Avon engines, which all improved the aircraft's range and performance. Its fuselage was 3 feet 1 in longer than the Comet 1's. Design changes had been made to make the aircraft more suitable for transatlantic operations. Comet 2X, limited to a single Comet Mk1 powered by 4 Rolls-Royce Avon 502 turbojet engines and used as a development aircraft for the Comet 2. Comet 2E. 2 Comet 2 airliners were fitted with Avon 504s in the inner nacelles and Avon 524s in the outer ones. Comet T2. The first 2 of 10 Comet 2s for the RAF were fitted out as crew trainers, with the first aircraft flying for the first time on the 9th of December 1955. The original operators of the early Comet 1 and the Comet 1A were BOAC, Union Aero Maritime de Transport, and Air France. When the redesigned Comet 4 entered service, it was flown by customers BOAC, Airliner Argentinas, and East African Airways, while the Comet 4B variant was operated by customers BEA and Olympic Airways, and the Comet 4C model was flown by customers Kuwait Airways, Mexicana, Middle East Airlines, Misrair Airlines, and Sudan Airways. Pilot error was blamed for the type's first fatal accident, which occurred during takeoff at Karachi, Pakistan, on the 3rd of March 1953 and involved the Canadian Pacific Airlines Comet 1A. 3 fatal Comet 1 crashes due to structural problems, specifically BOAC Flight 783 on the 2nd of May 1953, BOAC Flight 781 on the 10th of January 1954, and South African Airways Flight 201 on the 8th of April 1954, led to the grounding of the entire Comet fleet. The de Havilland Comet crash in Spain's Montseny range on the 3rd of July 1970 was attributed to navigational errors by air traffic control and pilots. 9 comets, including Comet 1s operated by BOAC and Union Aero Maritime de Transport and Comet 4s flown by Aerolíneas Argentinas, Dan Air, Malaysian Airlines, and United Arab Airlines, were irreparably damaged during takeoff or landing accidents that were survived by all on board. The only complete remaining Comet 1, a Comet 1 XP with the registration Giapus, the very last Comet 1 built, is displayed at the RAF Museum Cosford. The sole surviving Comet fuselage with the original square-shaped windows, part of a Comet 1A registered FBGNX, has undergone restoration and is on display at the de Havilland Aircraft Museum in Hertfordshire, England.